They brought experts together to write a policy for the government, use their own money to fund it, and handed that policy document over to the President Obasanjo at that particular time. And it was on the basis of that Airtel and Nigeria decided to stop controlling the telephone lines and made it a private agency. And how many of you know how many jobs have been created and how much revenue has come into the country since then? Are you here because of a shift in policy? Am I making sense? I remember saying in this church, they finally got it. Let me finish one of my thoughts. I remember saying this. Most of you won't remember this. I don't know whether maybe Joshua will. But I remember saying it many years ago. I said, we're going to wake up. And because at that time people were clamoring, when they were clamoring for Obasanjo to do a third term. I mean, you remember that? I said, there will come a day in this country where we will look back and find out that the most successful regime that ever run this country was Obasanjo's. Because hindsight is 20/20 vision. Are you here? Are you here? And so at the end of the day, the point I'm trying to make, please stay with me now. We didn't get our prayer points right in the last 10 years. Because under our nose, these two governments overprinted, didn't do anything about subsidy, didn't do anything, and yet we kept praying. What were we praying for? Edamilo, what was our prayer point? We didn't know. No, please, I'm not saying we didn't do anything wrong. We just didn't know because we didn't inquire of the Lord. You know, after the service on Sunday, this young lady, what's her name, who runs the kids camp, she walked up to me and said, I've been teaching my people in my church. You know, she has a church of young, absolutely vibrant young people. She said, I've been teaching them to inquire of the Lord. So she was escorting me to my office and she began to give me examples. And I turned to her and I said, remember Jacob? This is the man whose son, he was told by his other children that his son had died. And for 30 years, he never asked God once whether Joseph was alive. The day they sent him a message from Egypt, and he found out that his son was alive, that's the first time you will go into scripture and you will find out that Jacob went to God and said, is Joseph alive? And you know what God said? Who knows what God said? Yes. But it took him 30 years to ask. What is it that you've delayed for 30 years? Let's play if there's sound.